Hey guys, happy Tuesday and welcome back to our final full week of school. Last Friday we started talking about the volumes of cones. And today we're going to talk about the volumes of pyramids. So to really bring it back, the volume that we talked about, the volume of prisms and cylinders, we found the area of that base and we multiplied it by the height. Here the base multiplied by the height, or the area of this base, this circle, multiplied by the height. And that was for any prism, and the bases we were looking for were those non-rectangular sides on most of these. But we found out on Friday that cones had the volume formula of 1/3 area of the base times the height. Pyramids are the same exact way. The one trick we need to look out for in cones that we really don't need too much in pyramids right now is finding the height, making sure that height is straight down, almost like a string. If you were holding this by a string out the center of the pyramid, that's going to be the height. It must be perpendicular or at a right angle with the base. Sometimes you might see the slant height, which is the slanted height, as the name implies. That's not the same thing as the height. Just like the hypotenuse of a triangle is not going to be equal to this leg. It just won't be the same measure. So be careful about the height versus slant height. That's more of a cone thing, but I thought I'd bring it back up anyway. So again, our volume is 1/3 area of the base times the height. All right, now let's check it out. What's the area of the base? Well, if these are square pyramids, which they are for these first two, then each of these four sides is going to be the same. So the area of the base is going to be 10.5 times 10.5, or 10.5 squared. So let me get my calculator. Let's see, that's going to be 110.25 square feet. And the height we know is 7. So let's substitute in our known values. You know what, let me do this in a different color. I'll do this in red. So it's 1/3 area of the base times the height. We know the height is 7 feet. And the area of the base is 110.25. And we have to divide that by 3, or multiply by 1/3. So my final volume, my very final answer, is going to be 257.25 cubic feet. All right, let's try the same thing over here. So the area of the base, since this is a square pyramid, the area of the base is going to be 0.5 squared, or 0.5 times 0.5, which is 0.25 square centimeters. The height we know is 1 centimeter. So the volume is going to be 1/3 area of the base, which is 0.25 times the height, which is just 1. So we'll take 0.25 times 1 divided by 3, which is 0.083 repeating. And I'm going to have you guys round to the 100th most of the time. Cubic centimeters. Okay, now the only difference here is if you have a non-square base, which we see some of here. If you have a non-square base, then you've got to use the 1/2 apothem perimeter formula from a little while ago. So the area of the base here is going to be 1/2. The apothem is 8.3, and the perimeter, you've got to make sure that you use the correct measurement. This 11 yards is for the height, and 12 yards is for the side length of the base. So be very careful about that. 12 times 5 is 60 for the perimeter. The height is 11, so the volume is 1/3. Area of the base, and let's just figure that out. 0.5 times 8.3 times 60. It's going to be 249 square yards. So 249 times that height of 11. And that is 913 cubic yards. So one easy mistake to make is forgetting this 1/3. I've done it before. It's going to happen to you probably at some point. So just be careful about that. And let's do the same thing here. This one's a little bit more involved. I make you find the central angle, which we know is 360 divided by however many sides I have, because that's right here. Great illustration skills. That's my central angle. And when we cut the central angle in half, we also cut the side length in half. So this is 1 inch, this is 1 inch, this is 30, and I want the apothem of x. So we said adjacent and opposite. SOHCAHTOA. I have opposite and adjacent, or O and A. So I will use TOA. So the apothem is going to be tangent of 30 over 1, where the tangent of 30 is going to be the opposite over adjacent. Which is x. And if we cross multiply and solve, then 1 over the tangent of 30 x is 1.73. And that's inches. So the perimeter would be 12 inches, and the area would be 1/2. Apothem is 1.73 times the perimeter, which would get me 10.39. The height is 3, so the volume would be 1/3 times 3 times 10.39, which is just 10.39. Because the 1/3 and 3 reduce to 1, or cancel each other out. And here, our very last set of problems are going to be finding the height or the side length given